Hi, this is Mark Coco, Safety Manager for Martin County School District. We have a disaster plan for any type of event that we have that the school district has to respond to. And primarily we want to look at hurricanes. So for hurricane planning, we have prepared hurricane kits for every site in the district. So there's two different ones. The larger one is for shelter sites. And that's the schools that have been designated as shelters, whether they're phase 1 or phase 2. And we also have the ones for the non-shelter sites. They differ a little bit in that we provide, in the shelter kit, we have a lantern that the shelters can use, and then we provide the batteries for that lantern. And the same thing with a LED flashlight. And we also provide pens and pencils to fill out the forms, which I'll discuss later. We also provide you a digital camera so that you can take photographs of the damage and to make the reports so that we can file with our FEMA claims and our insurance claims to recover damages that occurred during a storm. The only difference between the two is that the shelter gets the lantern so that they can walk around and deal with their clients if the power goes out. The other schools, the non-shelter sites, do not get that type of a lantern because they won't be responding to clients. So the other part is these clipboards. These are identical, and these have the reporting forms for reporting damage. And there's some other information on here that I will explain. These kits are only supposed to be used for emergency situations. Please don't use the items in the kit for any other purpose other than responding to school district emergencies. The first form is the Storm Essential Employees. This form has a list of district positions, along with when they have to report for pre-storm, whether they have to work at a shelter, whether they need to be reachable by radio. That would be the 800 megahertz radios that the school district supplies. And then all the positions that have to be available for post-storm response. The second form is the Daily Activity Report form. This is the form that is used only for people that work in a shelter. That form has specific information that has to be reported to the county, and you just fill out the form. You have to fill out your name, your employee phone number, your work schedule, and what have you. And the instructions are attached to the form. When you fill out this form is based on a 12-hour cycle. If I started working the shelter at 4 p.m. Today, then I would fill out this form from 4 p.m. today through midnight tonight. And that would be for those 8 hours. And if I work the entire next day, 24 hours at the shelter, my next sheet would have to have from 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. so that I have one sheet per day per employee. And each sheet has to have the essential duties that I did during that work period. Do not include that you slept or that you ate, because that will be rejected and be returned to you to be redone. We need to put stuff like helped feed the clients, cleaned the cafeteria, supervised the clients, those types of duties that you are doing while you're operating the shelter. The only thing you can't put on there is sleeping and eating. And FEMA understands that you're doing that, but it'll get returned if you put that information on there. The next form is the Emergency Daily Activity Report with instructions that has our reporting duties. It's a little bit different than the counties. We only respond to certain kinds of categories for the storm, which would be debris, emergency measures, building and equipment, Parks and Recreation and Management. That information has to be provided on here, and again, it is one sheet per day per employee. Please don't add extra days on here or extra duties that are not related to hurricane. The next form is the building and contents form. This form is for recording any damage that was done within a school, whether it's broken windows, doors are damaged, there's flooding, the flooring is wet, ceiling tiles, the walls, you have cameras or equipment, computers, anything that was damaged in the building has to be recorded on here. And it has to be recorded by building and by room number so that we know what was in a specific room, in a specific building, so that we can get reimbursed for it. One thing of note is that any personal items that a teacher or staff member has brought in, whether it be to support their class instruction or any other purpose, a coffee machine or microwave or a personal refrigerator, those items are not reimbursable by our insurance carrier. The employee would have to submit that to their own personal home insurance for reimbursement. The next form is the hurricane photo identification form, and this is kind of related to the damage form as well. What we need you to do on here is take a picture and take a note that the very first picture is building 2, for example, room 103, and take the pictures for that damage that is in that room. Then the second photos would be related to maybe the next room that was damaged, because FEMA is very specific about knowing what was damaged in what building. What we typically get in these reports is people taking pictures of ceiling tiles and then not telling us what room they're in, but we need to know what room they're in so that we can count how many ceiling tiles were damaged and get reimbursed that way. So it's very, very specific. It has to be correct for that. So the photo form will provide that information for you. During the storm, while I'm in the EOC or anybody's in the EOC sitting at the same desk with me, we have the EOC utilities checklist, and these are the items such as whether roads are open to the school. This is really after the storm has passed. We want to know whether or not we can open the schools. And the items at the top of the form will tell you whether or not we can open a school. So the items that we look for is whether the access roads to the school are open, whether there's safe access to the facility from the parking lot to the buildings. Do we have power? Do we have a fire alarm? Air conditioning, is it running? Is the water on? Do we have sewage? Do the phones work and do the intercoms work? If all those things are working, then we also should have internet power, but we can at least open the schools knowing that we have this information. So during and after the storm, I will be asking what items have been corrected after the storm so that we know that we can open schools. The next 2 forms are basically for anybody to provide to any of their employees. These 2 forms have addresses and locations for grocery stores and gas stations that have generators so that you can access fuel and access food after a storm. This will help people get to those locations so that they can replenish any food that they need to have or get gas to get to and from work or to get to and from wherever they need to go. In the past, we have provided schools with a Ziploc bag marked for each school with the contents that we have here. We wanted to get away from that. We wanted to avoid the distribution process, so we will be providing these cases to the shelters and the non-school shelters so that they can have them on hand for any emergency should they need them at any time that we have a disaster arrive at the school district. So please put these in a very noticeable location for your staff or yourself so that you know that they're there. And once again, please do not use the contents for these kits until they are actually needed. One more point on the forms. I only talked about those briefly, but if you have any questions before, during, or after a storm on how to complete these forms, please don't hesitate to call myself or anybody in risk management that can help you fill out the form.